I was going to say moving forward, but moving into our own backyard, we have Melbourne punk rockers, Munted Chunts. Always a fun name to say. With their debut album, Hard Rubbish. God, I miss Hard Rubbish. My neighborhood doesn't do Hard Rubbish. It's one of those like, oh, you just put it out and then you book it. There's not a day where everyone goes and puts all their garbage on the street and you get to go pick through the neighbor's stuff. And I miss that. That is the worst part about where I live. Bring back Hard Rubbish Day. But, like I said, from our very own backyard, and boy does it sound it. It is a extremely ochre sounding. If you're not sure what ochre means, it is that Australian drawl. You will not listen to this and be like, is this SoCal skate punk? You are, yep. This came from Australia. This came from Victoria, even. Straight off the bat, though, it's got a 2-minute intro. Put it in the bin. Whoever was in the band and around the band and heard this before it got released and didn't say ditch the intro, they're a bad friend. Because the first actual song, Pub Gig, has a really good opener and a really good startup. And then you've got this intro before it, which it doesn't really flow well into the intro of Pub Gig either. Like, it's nothing. It's 2 minutes of wasted space that doesn't really help the album in any way. Especially for a debut. I think if you're trying to sell a debut album, you're like, here's our sound you want to put in, and you want to hear what you're about straight up. Just my take. But, like I said, once you get into the actual songs, very enjoyable. Very, very Australian. A lot of the lyrical content you'll understand if you've got a history of being a barfly down at your TAB or anything like that. Which, hey, maybe that isn't... I was gonna say, maybe that isn't the greatest for, like, an international market, but then you look at bands like the Chats, who are getting global exposure through shit like Pub Feed and Smoko. I think we're in an age where Australiana is internationally marketable, so there's no reason not to do something like this if this is what you're able to do, and they're able to do it well. The album's really well paced. Once again, I'm talking knowing when to pull back just enough to make sure you can, like, get to that next level when you need to. It is a punk album. It's fast. It's high BPM. But every now and then there'll be a little bit of pullback, and then bang, a go forward that makes you, it's like when you slam down the accelerator in your car. Even though your car's going fast, you always want to feel that little bit of whoa. And they've got that. They've got that throwback in your chair speed to them when they need to. 34 minutes, 32 if you skip the intro like I do. It goes by very fast, and straight away, I've written there, it's a second blind album. The moment that 30 minutes is over, I'm back in. I'm putting it on again. It is real like, oh, that was good. Let's do it again. And I think that's a real good mark for an album. That's how you, you stay in the playlist. It's kind of progressed enough that the first song doesn't feel like I'm just continuing the album. It feels like I'm repeating a cycle more. It's going back to a point where it didn't start at. And it's rewarding to listen to. It kind of gets better as it goes along, honestly. The transition, talking about the intro into the first song, those first two tracks not transitioning well. The last two tracks transition beautifully. It kind of just really, carries you gently out of the album. When you get to, Stop Taking My Lighter, and then that goes into Hard Rubbish, and by the time Hard Rubbish ends, you're like, whoa, that was the end? That was grouse. Let's go back to Pub Gig. I also like, and I think this is a first for me, a lot of punk bands, and it seems to be a very punk thing, I can't really think of it happening in other genres, having a song about a mate, a scene legend. Dropkick Murphys had that one about, one of the guys from Pennywise, I think it was, on their latest album. and that was one of my favorite songs. These guys have, what's it called? Cunts Fucked, very nice, about a Melbourne scene legend called Julian. And this is the first time I've heard one of those songs and be like, oh, I know who they're singing about. I know Julian. Julian's great. Yeah, this song is about him. And they're right. So I think it's really cute. All those times I hear those punk songs about, you know, a particular legend in their scene, I can finally listen to one and be like, I know that guy! I know him! And yeah, they kind of pop me a little bit. So, Munted Chunts, Australian punk, Australiana, thick, drenched, I love it. You know, I was raised on things like the 12th Man, and bands like Red Gum, even Midnight Oil. So when I hear that kind of thick Australian drawl that a lot of punk bands try to sound like American punk bands. When I hear someone come along, you know, like the Chats, like Friends of Rom, like Munted Chunts, who are like, yeah, we're fucking Australian, cunt, I'm like, yes, 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 yes. So obviously, it's a hell yeah from me. And it's a debut album, and they're local to the city. So if you're local to Melbourne as well, go check it out. Go support the guys. I sadly missed their album launch. I was unwell. I gave my tickets to lovely scene legends Jack and Dag in my place. And all the footage I saw looked really cool, and the t-shirt looks really cool where it says World Tour, and it's literally just got one Melbourne date on the back. Great bit. Yeah, hell yeah to Munted Chunts. Go check them out, please.